If you're working through writer's block, try to look forward into the future, not back into the past. I'm Dave Harris. In this video, I want to talk about how an orientation on the past can inhibit writing, while an orientation on the future can help writing. If you find this video useful, please like, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Writers have bad work days, or they have bad work weeks, or they have bad work months. These things happen, and you don't want them to become a barrier to future work. So writers can sometimes get focused on what they haven't done. They say, I haven't written for days or weeks or whatever. They say, I'm way behind schedule. The question is, how do you respond to such an unproductive period? For some writers, thinking about the past low productivity can cause a writing block in the future. Somebody who thinks, I didn't make progress in the past, may take that to mean I can't make progress in the future, and then their past history becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think that there are two dimensions to this block. One is the emotional weight of I haven't gotten enough done in the past, and that drains confidence about ability to get work done in the future. And the other is where your attention is focused. If you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about things that stopped you from working, or things that you did instead of working. If you're thinking about the project, you're thinking about what you need to write, and that focus is much more useful in terms of getting you to be able to write. To take the first of these elements, worrying that you haven't made enough progress depresses your mood. If you are thinking consistently, I'm behind schedule, I haven't gotten enough done, that's going to raise your anxiety. It's going to make you feel worse about yourself. And both of these negative emotions make it harder to feel optimistic about what is to come in the future. And the less optimistic you are, the harder it is to be motivated. If you think you're not going to succeed, then it's harder to try. If you think you won't finish your work on time, it's harder to keep working. So worrying that you haven't made enough progress will depress your mood, and we want to avoid that. Secondly, worrying that you haven't made enough progress takes time and energy away from thinking about your work. It distracts you from the project that you're on. Thinking about what you didn't do last week takes your attention away from what you could do this week. If you're only spending a few minutes a day thinking about the past, that's fine, right? If you think, gosh, I had a really terrible work week last week. It was so hard. All these things happened to me. I didn't get any work done, but now I'm going to start moving. Here are the tasks that I have ahead of me. Right? That's not going to interrupt you. But if you're spending a lot of time thinking about that past, if thinking about that past is making you feel emotionally reactive, if it's raising your anxiety to think that you're a week behind schedule, then that's not helping you at all. It's just taking you away from what you want to be focusing on, which is the manuscript at hand. It is valuable at times to assess your project and to assess your progress. It's useful to know where your deadlines are, what you've accomplished towards those deadlines, but it can also hold you back. So if you ask, what have I accomplished? And that leads you to say, I've accomplished X, Y, and Z, which means I have, the following tasks remaining. That's great because it's starting to focus your attention on what you can do next, which is what we want. It's what helps you write. It's what helps you get engaged in writing. It's a sense that you can do something active. I can write this paragraph or this sentence or whatever. But if you ask, what have I accomplished? And your answer is nothing, I'm so worthless, I'll never catch up, I'm so far behind schedule, right? All of this just raises negative emotions, makes it harder for you to keep working, harder to feel optimistic. So assessing your progress can be valuable because it gives you guidance, but you have to be careful with it because it can depress your mood and make it harder to work in the future. I think it doesn't need stating, but I'm going to say it anyway. No matter how much attention you give to what happened last week, no matter how much attention you give to the fact that today you're 3 weeks behind schedule, you can't change the past. The 3 weeks that you didn't work, you can't get those back and work now. The only thing you can do is work now, right now. You can get work done in the present, you can get work done tomorrow, and that's where we want to focus our attention. So you can't change the past, but you can change your manuscript now and in the future. And to some extent, this is a big choice. Are you going to focus on your project, or are you going to focus on the past? I've already said you can spend time, waste time thinking, I haven't gotten enough done. But if you're spending time thinking, I haven't gotten enough done, can you recognize that that's what you're doing? Can you recognize that that set of thoughts doesn't help you move forward, and try and redirect your thoughts to what you can do now, to steps you could take? I think that it would be great if you could think about which will make you feel better. I suspect that you'll feel better by trying to accomplish something a little bit today rather than ruminating about what you didn't get done last week. So I offer an exercise to refocus on the future. And this is a quick exercise if you're feeling dismay over low productivity, if you're feeling dismay over being behind your schedule, behind your previously planned schedule. And it's a quick exercise. Spend 2 to 5 minutes. The idea is just to get you to shift your focus onto things that you could do now. And the first step of this exercise is just to list the goals that you think you haven't accomplished. If in the last month you wanted to write an entire chapter, then that's one of the goals that you want to list. If over the summer you wanted to write all 3 chapters of your book, well, each of those chapters is a goal that that goes onto your list. And this shouldn't take more than a minute or two. You don't have to have a lot of items on the list. You only want to have a few. It will be enough, because we want to look at what hasn't happened and then shift our focus to the second step, which is trying to define practical steps that will help us move forward now. So if we've put on our list, writing chapter 1, writing chapter 2, and writing chapter 3, then in the second step, we can ask ourselves, what's something I can do to work on chapter 1 right now? What's something I can do to work on chapter 2? Maybe you have no draft of chapter 1 at all, and so you need an outline. Or maybe you have an outline, but you need a more detailed outline of one section. Or maybe you have a draft and you need to edit it. Whatever it is, think of a step that you can take now, something that you can start on. And don't pick a task that will intimidate you. If you need to edit the entire chapter 1, start with editing the introduction to chapter 1, or start with editing one section of chapter 1. So find some steps that you can take that will help move you towards your goals. To summarize, most writers experience periods of poor productivity when they don't accomplish as much as they hoped. For some writers, focusing on that past low productivity can create a writing block by depressing their mood and distracting them from the project at hand. It's impossible to change the past, of course, but you can improve your manuscript now and in the future. So ideally, if you're thinking about the past, instead you want to refocus your attention on tasks that you can carry out now so that you can make progress, rather than feeling bad by remembering that you're behind schedule. It's not great to be behind schedule, but the best response to that is to take some action now. So think about what you can do in the future. In short, if you're struggling with writer's block, if you've had an unproductive period, don't think about that unproductive period. Instead, look for things that you want to accomplish and things that you think you can accomplish, little steps to help you get moving again. Look forward into the future, not back into the past. Thanks very much for watching. Appreciate you if you have made it this far. And again, if you thought this useful, please like and subscribe. Thanks.